we will start circles with a little quick review here of a couple of things. So area, of course, area of anything, the amount of space inside of it, okay? How much room does it take? But instead, with a circle, calling it perimeter, because technically there aren't sides, just goes all the way around. We call it circumference, and we get pi, not the good stuff, but the number, from the ratio of the circumference divided by the diameter. This works with every circle. So, again, it's going to depend on directions. Sometimes directions are going to ask for exact answers. We're just going to leave pi there. Otherwise, you can use the pi key on the calculator, or you can just use 3.14 if you wanted to be able to get your answer. So, quick review of the formulas here. Circumference, there's a couple of options. If you're given the diameter, we're just going to multiply the diameter times pi. Real straightforward. If we don't have the diameter, if we have the radius instead, we've got to multiply by 2 because 2 radii would make 1 diameter. So that's what makes those the same, even though they look a little bit different. And if we're looking for what's going on inside our circle, our area is going to be pi times our radius squared. There is no diameter option with area of a circle. So if we have the diameter, we'd have to cut it in half and then use it that way. Otherwise, our area is not going to be right. So find the circumference of the circle. Again, keep it simple. This time we got the radius. So 2 pi r. Typically, and again, it depends. So, oh, that's 5. I'm trying to make it 0.5. Man, this is Friday all over again. We're not going down that road. So 2 times, all right, Hardy. So where's pi on these calculators if we're going this route? Pi is over here.
Second up here.
Yep, second up arrow or caret is going to get me pi. Awesome. And we'll just round to the nearest tenth. Circumference, just like perimeter, is just going to be the label, okay? Not label squared like it is with area. Just pop that in there, get my value. If it's a diameter that we're working with, though, that makes life even easier. Pi d. So second, this guy over here again, times 3. Again, just make sure when the labels are given. We ran into that before too, where it was just units. We just called it U. But again, nothing bad. And so area adjusts a little. And this is the one, like I was saying up above, we got to be a little bit careful of. So if we're given radius, it's no big deal. That's pi times radius squared. So there's my second and my up arrow, my caret. And then for squared, you can either use that up arrow again to get the exponent, or over here, just kitty corner from the 7, that x squared, that'll square it. It won't put an x on it. It'll just square it for you. And sometimes that's easier. But the thing to remember here is now with my label's now in square feet, because I'm looking for, hey, how much area is being taken up inside of my circle. So our first twist is about to come into play. So area is pi. What number am I going to be squaring for number 4? 3. Nicely played. Because we got to take half of that if we're going to do the radius. Man, didn't fool nobody. All right. Pi r squared 0.3, and then get our square inches on there. Now, the nice thing about a formula, though, is that most of the time, yes, we're going to be looking for the C or the A. But if we have some different information, we can find the other variables as well. So here, if the area of a circle, got to get up further, is 83 square inches, find the radius. Okay, so let's see. So this time we know the area. The area is 83. Find the radius. So we know since it's area, we know that's going to be pi r squared. So this is going to get a little weird. Because if we roll ourselves back to Algebra 1, we're going to be like, well, okay, if I'm trying to figure out what r is, I've got to get the other stuff out of there. So I'm multiplying by pi. So if I divide by pi, that's kind of weird, but okay. So 83 divided by pi, it's going to get me decimally. Ooh, okay, here's our first really good test of the morning. How do I undo squared? What's the opposite? Square root. Well, we're sharp on Monday morning. I like it. So let's see here, square root. So second to x squared will get me square root. And we're in inches. And again, I'm not going to mind if you go to tenths, hundredths, whatever you'd like to do on
You
that.
could even go to the very end of the decimal if you really like
If
to.
you want to deal with 5.138093, you go for it. You're like, I got to be specific for these people. Be like, oof, duh. All right, let's see here. Nothing changing a whole lot over here. Same idea. If the circumference is 36 inches, all right. So the circumference is just pi times diameter. Oh, find the diameter. I guess I should have read that far in case they asked me for the radius. So what's going to be our one step to get the diameter here? Divide by pi. So 36 divided by pi. Round up there. All right. And you can kind of see, we can kind of keep going in this circle of formulas here. If the circumference of a circle is 100 feet, find the area. Ooh. All right, let's see here. So, circumference, find the area. Anybody have a preference on which version of the circumference formula we use? We can get there with either.
The second one.
Okay, let's try 2 pi r. So I want to get my radius so I can find my area. So if I want to get the radius, I can divide by that other stuff. And I can do it all at once. If you want to do it one step at a time, you absolutely can. So we're going to divide by 2. Oops, ooh, now let's see if that makes a difference. Let's try something here. Oh, that's going to make a huge difference. That doesn't make any sense. 100 divided by 2 pi, it got bigger. What the heck? Here's the deal. The calculator did 100 divided by 2 and then multiplied it by pi. We don't want that. So what we're going to do to fix that is we're going to put the 2 pi in parentheses. Let's see if that gets us a little more reasonable of an answer. Okay, that's actually a little bit better. So I'm going to do this. So for future reference, if you're looking at this, you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that part. So 15.9 feet is our radius, but that's not what we're looking for. It's the first part. Find the area. So now area is pi times radius squared. So excellent call on doing the 2 pi r there, because that saved us a step. So pi times radius squared. And we'll get that big old value out here. And so whenever you're doing these, we did find a way to shorten that one a little. We're not always going to be able to do that though. So sometimes, let's see, the area is 25 pi square inches. So if the area is 25 pi, and the area is pi r squared, we're trying to figure out the radius here. So we divide by pi. The pi's are just going to cancel. That actually makes life easier. But out there, what's the square root of 25?
Just 5.
Just 5. So I've got my radius. So now I go back up to circumference and I just say, well, hey, I got the radius now, so I'm going to use the circumference formula that uses the radius. So what do we got here? 2 times 5 would be 10. 10 pi. And again, circumference is like perimeter. It's just inches, not square inches. Little detail stuff. It doesn't seem like much, but sometimes little details can be pretty darn important. So, just saying. Let's see. I'm just looking on the back of the notes here, trying to see if there's anything else that's different. That's not. Ooh, the application problems though. Let's go do those. So, last couple that we're going to look at on the notes specifically. If you want the other ones, I can get them for you if you want more, but I think the first 6 are kind of repetitive. So I'm not going to get too crazy here. So we're going to come down to 7 and 8, because I think those are the 2 that are going to help us with the rest of the practice here. All right, Jeff. Jeff bought, not bow, that'd be like part of a tree. I don't think he bought a part of a tree with a trampoline. And wants to attach a net to go around it. Pretty good idea. If the diameter of the trampoline is 16 feet, how many feet of netting does he need? Okay, so am I looking for area or circumference? Circumference, because we're going around the outside of the trampoline. So, then I go back in, and I'm like, hey, they gave me the diameter. So it looks like some pi d is going to go well for us here. All right, Jeff, how much do we need here? About 50.3 feet of netting would be what we're looking for. So again, the word problem itself was longer than it took us to find the answer. So not bad. Sarah's got a circular garden she wants to fill with mulch. She needs to find out how many square feet her garden contains if the diameter is 5.2 feet. How many, oh, there's the key word. Square feet, okay, is her garden. We're going to be looking for area. But to do that, ooh, we need pi r squared. But we were given the diameter, rho. How are we going to find the radius to get started? Okay. If we divide that diameter by 2, that's going to be my radius. So just a little twist there, not a big one. Oops, I almost forgot my squared. Hang on a minute here. Let's start over. And we're in feet. Square feet, because it hits area. So, your job in this, I'm not going to have you go crazy just for the sake of doing more problems when it comes to this. So, when we look into the practice portion of this, I'll kind of go to the practice page here. I believe, yeah, let's do this. So, on page 3, we're just going to look at evens. We don't need to go repetitive crazy. It's a nice little blend of some of the different ways we can look at area and circumference. But then, when we get over to page 4, this is where I want you to kind of dive in, because there's a couple of problems back here especially that are going to get you thinking a bit. And that's a good thing. So as you're going along, if you get stuck in somewhere, I'll jump in. I do have a key up here in front too, if you just want to kind of check and see, okay, am I doing this right? Otherwise, I'll jump in too if you need me, and we'll let